All right, welcome to an all new episode of Much to Do About Something. This is our first episode of the new year. I'm joined with me as always by my co-host Joel. What's up, Joel?
What's up, Juwaan?
We have very frustrating rumor to break down for DC. I know you guys assume when me and Joel talk DC, it's usually what we don't like. But unfortunately, it's because they just enjoy doing stuff that we just don't like. Like this isn't this isn't us looking for things to dislike. This is just hearing things that we're just like, I don't know who's running things over there, but
it's perplexing.
yeah, perplexing. Just like I don't. Okay, so Joel, you're gonna lead us off. Talk us through what the hottest new rumor is going on with DC.
Well, let me start by saying most of what we will be discussing isn't new. Like a lot of it isn't that new. A lot of it is stuff we've already heard. It's just being regurgitated, or at this point, it's settling in, and we're like, you know what? I guess this is real. This is happening.
Because there's no one big coming out and debunking it. That's the biggest thing. Like, there's no one like Umberto or anyone coming out saying, well, no, that's not true. So when you don't have anyone debunking, but you also don't have anyone confirming, it kind of goes, well, there's probably some smoke to that, because we know how quick scoopers love to come out and go, no, that's absolutely not true.
Right. And a lot of, again, this is stuff we've been hearing for months, most of it. Now, there's some new information here for sure, or else I wouldn't even be on here. It's just that, you know what, before I even get into the rumors, we were talking about this last week, about how we kind of talked ourselves into Michael Keaton, the Batman, and Batgirl and all that extra shit, right? So we made peace with it, because the whole Ben Affleck, his final, that's not new at all.
No,
there was a moment in between where we're like, maybe it's not, but that didn't last long.
And then he doubled down recently, saying he doesn't want to do stuff like superhero projects and stuff like that anymore. Right. He wants to do more Ridley Scott films and stupid shit like that, basketball head coaches and shit. So
whatever he wants to do, he doesn't want to do tentpole films or a major IP. Fine, whatever. He's like, I'm not going through that shit again, and I don't blame him. Look, it's a mess. It's right now in DC. And you can literally point towards that, his decision to leave, as the main reason. But whatever. The point is, they've made their decisions. Michael Keaton will be Batman going forward. At least we have to make peace with that, because he will be in the new Batgirl movie. That's official. He's obviously in the Flash movie, blah, blah, blah. They're going to do some type of retcon where he'll be merged into the new DCU, whatever the new DCU is, right. We made peace with that. But the biggest news today, and again, it's not new news, is that Supergirl takes the place of Superman in this universe. But we just don't know in what way, because we still don't know what her name is. You know what I mean? We still don't know if there is a Superman, or if there was a Superman, if there wasn't. Apparently, Henry Cavill will be seen, but only in old footage. So I'm like, well, that doesn't help at all. That could be like before the merger. You know what I mean? Right. So we don't know exactly in what capacity that is. But obviously, again, because of the fact that we know what they're doing with Batgirl, and them bringing in Supergirl, it just makes sense that's kind of what they're going with. The question I'm having is, like, is Superman completely non-existent in this universe, or is he just not around anymore? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's that dead or retired or whatever the fuck, right? Because before this whole thing came out, I was trying to do the math in my head, and I'm like, what happens if, because they're bringing Keaton's Batman into it, right? Like, why don't they just do that with Superman, especially if they're not bringing Henry Cavill back? Right. And to me, it really 100% dependent on if they're ever bringing him back. If they weren't, I'm like, just bring in Brandon Routh Superman. Right? Like, he's basically the Christopher Reeve Superman. You can make those canon, just like you can make the old Batman movies canon, and he can be the Superman of that universe, but he'll be the old guard, just like Batman. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then this Supergirl could be his daughter, just like we thought that she looks just like his daughter in the comic books. So it's like, why not be that version of her in the movies? And I just thought that would just make sense a lot. And again, that was just in my head. That was just headcanon. And then all this shit started popping out. So I was like, well, I don't know what Superman we're getting at, if we're getting a Superman at all in this universe. It just doesn't make sense to not have a Superman. So I need to understand what direction they're going in, especially if you're bringing back Zod and Feora in this movie. So like, there's something's up. So
Well, the only thing that's confusing about that is we know why Michael Keaton's Batman will be the DCEU Batman. We know that. We know clearly they just don't want to compete against themselves. So they have a young Batman in Matt Reeves' universe. So they're gonna go drastically old, retired, damn near dead Batman for their DCEU. Cool. But the confusing thing is about everything you just said, and I'm not saying what you said was confusing, but about the bottom line of what you're getting to was Henry doesn't want to go. So if you're saying that Supergirl is the new Superman, that to me just means you have no interest as of now utilizing any Superman in the DCEU. So what scares me is you have 2 other Superman projects coming, right? Now what scares me is, okay, we know they're Elseworld for now, but if they do well, I don't want you to look anywhere else but at Henry. Even if Sasha's Supergirl isn't Kara, no problem. Whoever you want to make her Supergirl, I don't care. But my main issue is you already killed it's the same problem we have about Black Panther. You killed Clark already. So to have her in Metropolis,
you resurrected Superman to kill him off again.
Right. You can't just say he disappeared. All the other Justice Leaguers are here, but Superman and Batman, Superman is just gone. What? Like, no, so my problem is if you bring in Brandon Routh, right? If you bring him in, I think that is your final nail in the coffin of, well, we'll just never see Henry Cavill again.
Exactly. And that's it for sure.
Right. And if that's the case, I told you before, I didn't dislike his Superman. It's very disrespectful. But it's the same way I felt about when they did that to Jared Leto. I'm like, you didn't give his Joker a chance, and now you're just bringing in a whole new Joker, even if it's Elseworld. That's you telling him you had no interest in doing anything else with him.
Yeah.
So again, I would be fine with what you're saying. I don't dislike Brandon Routh as Superman. I enjoyed his Superman. Those movies, not movies. That movie,
one movie,
was god awful. But I did not dislike his performance there. My only issue.
We loved his return as Superman in the crossover.
Right. My only issue with that is I just don't want to give them our blessing of going older. Like I can accept it for Bruce Wayne, right? I can accept it there.
Yeah, he's not that old though.
No. Not Brandon. But you were saying going for a more Superman that's older, that might be looking to retire, and that's why.
What I mean by retired, I mean like he is older than what we're used to. But he's still Superman. He's not old. You know what I mean?
Okay. I thought
he's just not the main Superman. Like he's basically passed it on to his daughter, is what I'm saying. And he's taking more of a back seat. So if a big shit happens, he could pop out and help out. But that's not his job. And he's like, I'm just settled. My daughter's taking over for me. And like he's been doing it since the 70s, shit like that. You know what I mean?
See, that's
how my head, again, this is all headcanon. I don't know if that's what they're gonna do. I have no idea.
No, but to me, I'm fine with that. But see, that's what I'm most curious about, because you're putting Keaton back in the Batsuit for the Flash movie, right? So if he looks even remotely good, and I don't mean Michael Keaton in that suit, because clearly we know there's stunt doubles, but I mean if his Batman looks fluid,
right?
I am really, really curious how you explain Gotham as being saved by anybody else but a very adequate Batman that should be able to do it himself. So I'm wondering, is there like lingering issues, and he's older so they don't heal, and he just can't keep up anymore?
That's probably what's going to happen. If I had to take a guess, it's going to be that he's just older, and he's just, I can't do it the way I used to do it. It's more of a part-time thing now, and that's not how it should be done. And so Batgirl gets into the picture, and he basically adopts her as his protege going forward, right? That's what seems like is going to happen. That she'll be my replacement going forward. And then we've heard rumors that Black Canary is going to be in it, so she's also in Gotham
Right.
helping out too. So it's not just Batgirl. Maybe it will be the Birds of Prey that take over for Batman. Moving forward. But Batman is again old guard, and so he's an elder statesman, and like they'll still utilize him in future movies. He just won't have solo movies because he's more of a supporting. He's a supporting character more so than a major character, and I think that'll be the same for like Superman if he's involved at all in this universe. But we'll see, because Superman doesn't have a new movie coming out with a new younger version. It's different. You can still utilize Superman as the main Superman in this universe. All you have is a TV show, and that's a TV show on network television. It's not even a premium, you know what I mean?
You can't even make an assumption half the world watches, let alone enough to where people will go, well, wait a minute, that's confusing.
Just because he's on TV does not mean he can't be in movie. You've done this before. Stop being ridiculous with that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. But the Keaton Batman thing, I think I could have, like, I can wrap my head around it. So I'm not saying I can't, but I think I could wrap my head around it better if he never suited up, right? So if when Barry found him, it's just an older Bruce Wayne with the cane and everything, and he is more, like you said, more of just a mentor to a lot of the DCEU, especially like Batgirl, Black Canary, whatever. But seeing him suit up, like I said, I'm just really curious to see how it plays out, because to me, it's going to be really hard for you to tell me he suits up, looks great, but we're not going to ever utilize him in the suit again. And it's like, well,
I don't think that's the case. I think we will utilize him in the suit again. I think you'll see him as Batman. He's just not a major player anymore. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't need any more solos from him. I just want to know that I can see him suit up more than just this Flash movie. That's all I'm saying.
That'd be a disservice, and then obviously a nice pop during the movie when he does. He just won't be the main one anymore. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
You know? See, okay, so with this rumor, and I'm gonna let you go further into it, but with this rumor, and it's an argument I actually had amongst not about this, but something else. Wording is very important in every facet of life, right?
Right.
You're telling me that you have a retired Bruce Wayne or
it doesn't matter, because once it gets merged, we don't know the case, his case anymore.
No, that's fair.
Where we meet him in this universe and where he will be when it gets merged, we have no idea.
Right. I'm just speaking to the rumor saying new Superman, new Batman. That's my problem. You telling me that Batgirl is a focus going forward, I have no problem. You telling me she will kind of be filling the gap of the new Batman. No, absolutely not. Just like I don't need her filling the gap of a new Superman. She's Supergirl, she's Batgirl. They'll always be the number twos to the number one.
Yes. No, the idea that they were literally replacing them is never going to sit well with anybody.
Right.
I mean, that's not true. There are enough people that have said, fuck Superman and Batman, but fans will not, normal fans will not take lightly to them being replaced, especially in a cohesive universe where like everybody wants to see that.
Right. You haven't given it to us.
Right. We don't have one. We don't even have one. For you to take them out before you even start one is even more frustrating. It's so frustrating. So it's like, yeah, you could do it. It's not a good idea, and I can't imagine that'll ever sit well with anybody. But they will be like Supergirl and Batgirl being the focal points in the DCEU over Batman and Superman is something we're gonna have to live with, because that's what they're doing. You know what I mean?
I knowing Warner Brothers in how cliche they are, I just don't want something like she saves the day and they're like, well, what are you, the new Batman? No, call me Batgirl. Like, it's just, what the fuck? Batman's there. Like, Bruce Wayne is still there.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead. So to me, it's just the idea of, I'm very curious on how they set these things up and where they go. Because like I said, just saying the new Batman, the new Superman, and Henry Cavill still wants to be Superman is so freaking frustrating. Um, so I hope that they fix some of this crap and it's not as spotty as it has been. Um, because yeah, I could see Warner Brothers doing something like that, and it's like, oh, that's just such a spit in the face.
I missed it. What happened?
No, I'm saying to say the new Superman, knowing that the man wants to come back, is such a spit in the face.
Right. Well, even my idea of bringing in Brandon was like, oh, that's only if you really don't plan on bringing Henry back. And
Right.
in that regard, I still feel that's very disrespectful because the man still wants to come back as Superman. So it's like, it just doesn't like fit. It doesn't sit well. Like,
Not at all. Now I did see. Now we don't have to go into this conversation because it might be somewhat spoilery, even though it's only a rumor, depending on how you take it. But did you want to get into what the rumor of how the Flash movie ends?
we could. I mean, these are heavy rumors, but also could be spoilers. So at this, so I guess a warning is like if you don't want to hear the rumor, and just because it might be true, you might want to not hear it all.
Right.
But like spoiler warning. You're giving the possible spoiling warning. We don't know for sure.
Right.
So just so you know, we might be spoiling something for you.
Right.
Yeah, we could go into it.
Okay. So yeah, we gave you guys your warning, so we don't want to hear any crying. Like, oh my God, you guys spoiled it. We told you to just skip out of the video, skip out all this video.
Yeah, you should watch because some of this might be real, and you're like, oh fuck, man, I ruined it.
So the rumor has it that Shazam shows up at the end of the movie, and he, Flash, and Supergirl, was it, start a new Justice League.
Yeah.
Which
apparently it's Flash Shazam comes and asks to join the Justice League.
And asks to join the Justice League, sorry. Which is even more confusing because it's like this movie's gonna have to be very clear on their wording at the end of this movie, because you telling me, well, Ben's gone, Henry's gone, essentially, right? Essentially, as for now, Henry's gone. You just have Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Batgirl, and Flash.
We don't have Batgirl yet. You will have Batgirl.
You will have
Batman. You have Batman.
Right, but Shazam dropping down and saying, "Can I join?" It's like, well, join what? I don't even know what new universe I'm in.
We don't know what that Justice League is yet. You're right. You're absolutely right. What is this Justice League? Especially if they're erasing the Snyder movies from existence. Right. Now it's a split. Let's say like, oh, it's a split universe. And, oh, whatever happened here happened, and now it became this.
But that's more confusing. So okay, so again, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it's been out for a while, so whatever. But how Spider-Man ended, to where no one has memories that he has, but he still holds the memories. So do you think this will play out to where Barry's like, you weren't my Batman? Like, I won't tell anyone because no one will believe me because they'll only know you as the Batman. But I know that you weren't, and you flying around in that cape, you weren't my Superman. Like, I don't know what's happening here, but whatever.
He's gonna come back to the new. I mean, look, it's a Flashpoint event basically. Right. He's gonna come back to a new universe that is set up to go forward like the way it is, and now we just need to figure out what's been established. You know, it's like like we just talked about. Will there be a Superman at all, or is Supergirl just the new Superman? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the super of this universe going forward, in what capacity? Like it should, but like I said, will there have been a Superman before her, or is it just Supergirl? You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's disrespectful to ignore that the idea that there was a Superman first.
Because here's the crazy thing, Joel. We know that, especially in Snyder's world, she landed before him. We just have never in the movies heard anything else about it. Right. So this is what scares me. We know she's from an alternate universe, right? What scares me is the idea that she landed first, and in that universe, that was it. So she never had.
Well, Clark never landed.
Right. No. Clark died on Krypton with everyone else. I just see them going that route, and then when they splice everything back so it's all one whole enchilada, she'll have only been the only ever super person.
Of that word.
There was never a Clark Kent Superman. And it's like, well, if you're doing that, it's like that's not a soft reboot.
No, that's a complete reboot. And I find that disrespectful, honestly, to like you didn't do that to Batman. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, so Kanan's saying right here, it's going to erase Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League. So then it is confirming there was no Clark Kent.
Well, we don't know that yet. It's erasing those movies because we're still Bruce Wayne, and we had those movies too.
No. I get you there. Only reason I'm saying that is if you're erasing.
To cry. Yeah, I get it.
You know, I never want to do that. But if you're erasing those three movies were all about Superman.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, if that's gone, well, then what is your story of Superman now?
Well, like I just explained to you, what they could do is still a possibility. It's just they have to explain that. You know what I'm saying? Because she could still be the daughter of Lois and Clark. You know what I mean? Like we thought she was, because she looks like her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I am very intrigued to see how this plays out because
I'm more nervous than anything. Because like you keep saying, her replacing him as Superman, replacing Superman is my issue.
Trust me, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But I've come to this point in DC to where it's just like, you know what? Whatever, man. Like I can't anymore. Like your decision
just doesn't make sense. Like, why would you do that? Like, what logically in your head makes you think that's a good idea? Who greenlit that and said that's perfect?
Because that's just not a soft reboot. None of what's being reported defines a soft reboot at all. At all. So to me, it's like you're hard rebooting it without actually just rebooting everything. Because you could reboot everything and start with, let's just this just for the sake, with Kara. And then we find out it's been a Clark Kent here the whole time. And then we get a set of Clark Kent movies that Henry Cavill can still be the star of.
He never not needed to be in these movies.
Oh, no.
There's got to be some like major beef between him and the studio, because it's like, why do you not like this man?
I have to imagine. But
he doesn't start with you. He doesn't fight with you. He never says shit about you behind your back.
I don't even think it's necessarily just an issue with him, because you have to imagine, if you didn't want to work with Henry, you would just recast a whole new Superman. Right. You deciding
obviously recasting it is such a fucking weird thing these days.
But that's what I'm saying. You taking Superman completely out of it. It's like, well, do you not see the value in Superman?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's the symbol. Like, bro, are you serious?
Yeah, I don't understand. And to a lot of people, like, there's never been a time in comic book history where, like, you remember how we said we grew up on Jon Stewart? And then it's like, oh, and then finding out about Hal Jordan. It's like, oh, okay.
I knew about Hal Jordan.
Okay, I'm sorry. For me, I grew up on Jon Stewart and Wally. I had to then learn about Barry and Hal. Like, there's never been a time where there's been a Supergirl and never been a Superman. So I'm like,
there's always going to be a question. And then you have like not just you have a Superman show, you have like another Superman show, you have another Superman movie. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, but none of them is connected to your cohesive universe. Why does that sound like that makes sense to you? It doesn't make sense.
Here's the scarier part. They flipped it. So originally they had Supergirl on CW, right? We had Supergirl. Supergirl was going for a long time. You had Superman pop in a couple times. Then Supergirl gone, right?
Gone, right.
Here's the messed up part. You ready for this, Joel?
Swapped it.
You then brought Superman to television, and then in the movie said, gone. Supergirl.
Yeah. After all of last year saying it doesn't matter.
Right, it didn't matter. Yeah.
You know, only when
I remember Jim Lee saying that. I remember Jim Lee saying, no, that doesn't matter. We have this here, that there. It doesn't matter. People understand. Yeah. You just gotta tell good stories. What's your excuse now? What's your excuse now? What's up, Trevon? So we're
Such a
talking
parody.
the I know you've been on Twitter. I know you've been seeing the rumors going on with DC. So we're going over that. Before we go any further, there was a rumor for how the Flash movie ends. If you did not want to hear that, let me know before we jump back into that.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
Go for it.
So, okay. So the main reason why, Joel, I think that Shazam, that whole Shazam putting together the Justice League thing has a lot of legs.
Becoming part of the Justice
League. Sorry. The reason why I think that has a lot of legs is it now makes way more sense that Diana is in Shazam 2, because it might be in more of a instead of, because clearly you're not doing Superman, so now she might be more of the mentor to having the power of the gods, how to control it, how to properly use it, how to be a superhero.
It just makes sense too.
Yeah,
right. Because she has a connection to the Greek gods, and he's a connection to the Greek god. Just makes sense.
No, right, 100%. But I also could see the added addition to that being like, okay, yeah, you asked to join. Now I got to kind of show you how to properly be. And I can't wait till she finds out he's a child. She goes, wait a minute, like, hold on a second. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that sounds cool. But to me, you have to know that at no point I want to see Supergirl, Shazam, and Black Adam fight, right?
Right.
So you doing this whole Supergirl taking the forefront. And by the way, let me also say this. When we're saying this, we're not saying this as gatekeepers that don't want females to have lead roles and attention. We're just saying that I find it counter-sexist that you're saying we can't have a female and male coexist at the same time. We got to put one down to bring one up. And then when you get to a point, bring that one back down and bring this one back. That's preposterous. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. So to me, it's like, well, have Supergirl, but also have Superman.
Right.
I don't understand.
Again, we don't know the whole story there, so I don't want to like say that they've made the decision until we know for sure what their decision is on that. I'll be cautious, but yes, as of right now, it just seems ridiculous.
Right. So Trevon, I'll ask you. So UNT have already made me cry with you guys saying like doesn't always need to be connected, and we could take a little bit of a break from Batman. It already breaks my heart, but with Batgirl kind of filling in and Supergirl kind of filling in, does this all make sense to you?
It's exactly what I thought this movie was going to do.
Was do that?
All of this right here, is exactly what I thought was happening. So it's not like it's a surprise to me. I was like, yeah, we get rid of Ben Affleck. Obviously, Cavill's never going to be used again. Why is Supergirl there? Other than to replace the Superman that we had. That's the only thing that makes sense to me anyway. When I first heard about her, I was like, why would they do that? No, because they're never going to use Cavill again. That's just, and they don't want to, and I feel like they don't want to bring another one in right now, like right away. I don't want to do like another Superman. Everybody's gonna be calling for Cavill. Rather than make another Superman, let's bring a Supergirl in. Maybe they'll let that slide. That's what I feel like they are.
Not sure
doing.
That works, but yeah,
I know, but I'm saying I'm not sure it works either. But they're gonna try it.
What you're saying, the
premise does sound logical though.
No, the premise of what you're saying makes 100% sense. But the only problem is their fans aren't logical. So if not bringing back Henry would cause chaos, you essentially, for now, replacing Henry won't bode you any better. Like no one, like the people that want Henry back won't go, well, I'm fine for now with Supergirl. Right. Like, no, they'll still be upset. It's just the idea of
but you are replacing Superman. You are replacing Clark Kent. So hopefully they won't be too bad. I don't know. I just feel like they're thinking, what can we do that won't piss them off completely? Maybe halfway.
The biggest problem is
Superman pisses everyone off.
Of course. The problem is Supergirl is going to, with me, let me speak for me only, is going to have the same problem I have with Batwoman. You take place in the city the other big guy lives in. So at what point will you justify I'm fighting crime in Metropolis, but there's no Clark Kent or Superman? Because I tell you, I
was gonna
watched
say
that
he never came to Earth.
I was telling Joel, I thought they might go that route. I hope they don't.
Now with Batman, it's a different story. He's from Earth, but with Superman and Supergirl, they could easily say Supergirl came here, Superman didn't, and they can go that way.
They could do that. I'd find that I'd take offense to that.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. It's just gonna be very interesting.
We got to see what they do.
Yeah, it's just like this movie. I'm very much in the I want Zach's world, but it's fine. It's like, it's all right, fine. I'm not gonna get it, so it's fine. We got a Batman over here with Battinson, and then we got this new whatever they're doing over here with Flashpoint. They're gonna try their best to retcon a whole bunch of crap, and we're gonna see what happens. I don't know.
I think a lot of this news would be more palatable if they did the one thing that I dread more than anything with Warner Brothers. And they just broke it all up. Like nothing was connected. Like Wonder Woman finished out her movies, Aquaman finished out his movies, Flash finished out his. And then you come to a point where you figure out a way to take all the best parts of a Justice League and mold them together.
If you do that,
I feel like
start over.
Warner Brothers is illogical.
I desperately want that, but logically, I don't think they're ever going to say no to.
There's too much money in what they have established.
Right. That's why I'm saying.
And I'm fine with that. What you got, but why would you just making a world, the world that you're continuing without Batman and Superman as focal points is the stupidest thing in the world. But whatever.
I don't think they like. The thing that kills it with DC, they're talking about multiverse all the time.
Yeah,
but they don't actually allow it to happen.
No, they don't.
So it's just like I keep saying, I kept saying that. I keep saying this about the TV shows and this stuff. They do this every time. They give the TV shows access to Suicide Squad, then they snatch it away because they're making a movie.
Mm-hmm.
What did it make a difference? Let them have theirs, and you do yours over here. Why did it make a difference? They had to do that. Like, I still wholeheartedly believe the Flash TV show is going to end in 2022. I still believe that. They did this 5-episode thing. Now they're on a break. I fully believe they're gonna announce this is the final episodes when they come back. And I feel like that's what they're gonna do because the Flash movie is coming. I swear that's how I feel. And this is what they keep doing. Now we have a Supergirl in the movies. The Supergirl show ended. It's clockwork. It's like they don't allow. That's what we were just
saying, because we were saying how Superman now has a show, but now it looks like he's absent from movies.
Yeah, they don't allow it.
It's crazy. I mean, look, I still and I know people say all the time, well, Matt Reeves didn't want to have to worry about.
See, that's what I thought too. So for Matt Reeves, I thought maybe he had a great pitch, and they said, you know what, we're not going to pass this up. Hell no, we're going to do this. So they did it, and he's separate.
See, but that's what frustrates me because
you separate.
Yeah, I mean,
you didn't have to abide.
They don't let him do what he wanted.
But you didn't have to abide by that because here's the thing: we don't ever need to see Batman in anyone else's movies, right? We only need to see him for Justice League stuff. So I'm like, Matt Reeves didn't have to put Superman or a mention of Superman in any of his movies, right? We just needed to know confirmation Robert Pattinson is in the DCEU, right? And we could hear Wonder Woman talk about how Gotham is crumbling. We could hear, on the news, a mention about Metropolis. You don't have to put Superman in your movie, or you don't have to have dialogues where you're talking about, yeah, and yesterday I was with the judge. You don't have to do that. So none of your movies, I keep telling people, Black Panther, till you get to the end credit scene, has no mention of the Avengers or any of that. Until you get to the end credits.
Well, most of the solo movies don't mention it. Like
So that's why I said, Matt Reeves, it would take nothing away from your movie to have your guy in the DCEU where he can be with the Justice League, and then you solve all your problems. You either recast them, and now we have our full Justice League.
I would say that's true if you could trust Warner Brothers to not interfere. Like if his movie is separate, it's really separate. He has complete control over it. Once you start letting the little tidbits of the other Justice League come in and stuff like that. Then you got to start letting little details in. Then you got to start letting our producers and stuff come in and give their like. It just gets messy, and I feel like maybe he doesn't want to deal with that. He sees how messy it is now. Maybe he's like, I don't want to deal with that.
It's as simple as this. It's selfish. It's as simple as that. It's selfish. It's a guy who only has a vision for Batman and could care less about anything else.
I mean,
and if the studio willing to say,
that's what they agreed to.
I mean,
no. But we understand the studio is stupid.
Yeah, so
but
it's not.
That doesn't change the guy shorting us.
No,
the idea of getting
shorted from the beginning.
100%.
I mean, yeah.
BVS imploded on itself. It was all downhill from there, and it was like.
I don't even think BVS was just like what he wanted to do anyway. Like I think, man, he did Man of Steel, and I feel like they were like, okay, we gotta catch up.
No. There was nothing. There was
from his
nothing
very start.
Zack wanted to
that
do.
was his plan.
There was no. I don't think that was his plan. I think when Warner Brothers brought it to his attention, Zack clearly wanted to make a Batman world. It's why all the fucking movies are so dark. So I think when they brought it to his attention, he 100% said, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do Batman for sure." I think he jumped at the chance to it. I don't think when they were writing Man of Steel, he thought, "How can I put Batman in?"
I thought it was a smart way to do it. I didn't.
It wasn't a bad
idea.
It was just a bad.
I didn't hate it.
It was a bad execution.
No, it wasn't the best plan. He basically did Dark Knight Returns and threw it into that movie. And he took a story that really was an end game in the comic books, because it was literally old head Batman, Superman that's been around forever, you know. So you did it at the beginning. You made it at the beginning, and so there's a lot of questions that come up, like why was Batman so easily manipulated into fighting Superman?
Right.
He was obviously not a bad person. There's a lot of weird shit that went on in that movie, a lot of weird decisions that went in.
Bat branding.
Bat brand.
I guess this is where I'm like indifferent, because when it came to that movie, I thought they made it make sense to me. Like, he saw his people getting hurt. He was getting berated by like them telling him, like, why didn't you save us? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just, I just felt like it made sense for him to want to get rid of this alien that he had no idea had a family or anything. He just thought it was somebody that caused.
The greatest detective in the world did not know that this alien was easily was parading as human. Like,
well, I mean,
doesn't make sense
also,
as a fan of Batman.
I don't know.
Also, it doesn't make sense, Trevon, because I'm like, as a guy that you have to imagine fought Bane, fought Solomon Grundy, fought a few other big, strong villains. You tell me Batman's never been thrown through a building where maybe it collapsed or there was collateral damage? There's no way you're telling me Gotham. Just when he was
assuming those types, we assume this Batman.
Even if it wasn't, my problem. First of all, why are the cities so close together?
That is the big.
Why were they right next to each other? What the fuck was that? Like, that was bad.
I don't know.
Batman and Superman should never be that close together. That's insane.
BBS Dawn of Justice. I don't know.
It was the Dawn of Justice. I
definitely did that.
I did not hate that movie at all.
I enjoyed the Ultimate Edition. The one in the theaters had a little bit of had plot holes for me, but when I watched Ultimate Edition, I liked it.
I rewatched BBS the other day, the theatrical version. There's some things that don't make sense. The extended does fill in a few things, but to me, again, it's not a bad movie. It's just you clearly not understanding a lot of things when it comes to Superman and Batman was really my only issue. And then you killing Robin and then saying there's no other like, there's just things that's just like, what?
World building wasn't. It was, I don't know. It's so weird.
He made some choices that a lot of people didn't like, but I was like, I didn't have a problem with the movies at the time, and I was like, it's fine if he can keep going.
Look, I'll never
going and getting worse.
He kept getting interfered. I just felt like he kept getting interference with the.
I get what you're saying.
Warner Brothers very much.
I get what you're saying, but a lot of Zack's
Justice League.
But a lot of Zack's
Justice League was completely, that and Suicide Squad.
That was like a fast track.
Fucked up because of what happened, because of the reviews of BVS.
My biggest issue is the decisions he was allowed to make. a la killing Dick Grayson off and keeping it that way. And there was never been another Robin.
That could have always been retcon later on because he never officially established that. That was after the fact. They said, yeah, it was.
We just saw it.
He could have changed it if they really wanted to.
He never said anything.
100% could have. He 100%
could have. It could have. Oh, that was Jason. What am I talking about?
But he doubled down on it and said that was indeed Dick Grayson.
Later on, it was.
Later on, right?
All his decisions.
There were a lot of Zach decisions that were allowed to be kept that just were not good. So to me, do I look back on his time with DC and go, man, it was the worst thing ever? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think a lot of the problems we have today
underrated.
Right. I think a lot of the problems we have today wouldn't have been the case if he had not made a lot of decisions that he did. But
I don't know if that's the case. I don't feel like Cavill and Affleck being removed are his fault. Like, they don't have to do that.
No,
they don't have to do that.
But you also didn't need to make your Batman 40, 45 years old either. If you made him increasingly younger, I think we're not in this position we're in now, which again had a good and bad consequence. The good being Matt Reeves' Batman looks beautiful, but the bad being we now have to continue to get an old Batman in the DCEU. So that's what I mean by some good. There was some bad. The bad looming. The good solid.
It's not, again, my problem isn't with. I just love the DC universe, and I want to see a successful DC universe. I don't care if it's Snyder's version or not. I just want the DC characters to prosper, and the fact that some of these characters are now going to get shafted because of old mistakes. I just don't think that's fair. You know what I mean? Like that's like we want a cohesive universe, but we want it the right way, and then you end certain characters' runs the right way. Not because we have them somewhere else, or we have them. If it's a multiverse, then it shouldn't fucking matter where or when where they are. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
that's my issue.
I mean, it's as simple as a reboot would not have hurt this universe whatsoever. Because you can't get any worse than what people are fearing you're heading towards now anyway.
Yeah, so that's why I gotta wait.
Reboot it.
Yeah, we gotta wait and see after the Flash how I feel about what they did with Superman, because that's really my only thing I'm hung up on. Everything else I've kind of loved, come to terms with.
Because we talked ourselves into Keaton's Batman.
We sure fucking did. We talked ourselves right into
it.
I did it.
Okay, so Trevon, so what we said was we had no problem. If you're saying this Bruce Wayne obviously has to take steps back, maybe has to be more so guy in the chair than active in the field. But you essentially have Batgirl and Nightwing filling in for some of the lack of Batman.
Well, we hope
we can only pray Nightwing. Shout out to Chris McKay. He said that hope is still alive. But yeah, having Batgirl and Nightwing fill in is perfect. That's actually perfect. And then you just build off of the Bat family there. So Gotham is always protected by the Bat family, right? Rather than you just going, no, all of Batman's biggest villains are being stopped by Batgirl. And it's like, well, hold on. Like, all right, relax. Hold on a second, So that just makes more sense to us doing it that way, building outward. But the only problem of that is if that's exactly what Matt Reeves is doing, we now just discussed they won't duplicate that. So then it leads me to believe like, oh my God, now I have to pick and choose. Like, do I want young Batman with a Bat family or old Batman with a Bat family? And it's like, well,
damn it.
Jeez. So that's why I'm saying, Joel, I believe if Reeves does do Bat family, right, and they allow him to do it, that means we're getting Batgirl and that means we're getting Terry McGinnis. That's exactly what that means. They're not going to go any other route because they can't. You'd have to double down on everything.
Right. Well, again, it depends on how it plays. Because I was open to Terry, but it really depends. Because if you have Batgirl, it just almost defeats the purpose. I
agree. The whole point of that Batman Beyond working was that it was just Bruce in a chair, Terry in the field. Barbara was old as hell. She was now the commissioner or whatever. There was no mention of
old as fuck. Yeah,
she was super old. Obviously her father had passed. So there was a lot of things that had progressed tremendously. Right. So for you to say in this world, well, there is a Barbara Gordon. She's young, and now there's Terry McGinnis. It's like, well, we don't necessarily need a Batman Terry McGinnis and her. You would have to move her somewhere else.
That's why it's confusing. And like Batgirl being the Batman of that universe, but still having a Batman in the background, I'm fine with, because I love Michael Keaton. He doesn't have to be as forefront as it is what it is. They've already Ben's gone, fine.
Right.
My issue is Superman, because at the very end we still have Michael Keaton as Batman, even if he's not as prominent. We still have a Batman. We don't right now have a Superman, or as far as we know, we don't. So that's my issue. Until I know what's going on with that, I'm gonna have an issue.
And just a clarification because I see people already discussing it in the group chat. They're not restarting the universe at all. No. At all. And you can understand that by the fact that only two things have changed: Batman and Superman. That's it.
Wait, what group chat?
No, it's my writers.
Okay.
The writers who do our articles.
No,
it wasn't that one.
Where are you?
I was about to say.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I was about to say AJ knows better. AJ knows better than so it wouldn't be our Twitter group chat. But yeah, so it's not a restart. It's just a very, 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 very significant small.
It's a hard soft reboot.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
so that's really all it is. So we wanted to come on here and kind of talk about that, kind of get it out a little bit, because a bit like Joel said, it's not new. None of this is really new.
Yeah. The newest shit with the Shazam news. That was the newest thing I learned. I was
right.
Like, oh,
but it's more so like, hey, before, don't really stress, it's just rumor. Now it's kind of picking up to where it's like, well, this may be true. Like, what if this is true?
Flashpoint is right there, so I fully expected them to use it. I just was hoping they wouldn't do this, but I thought they would. So it's I
honestly was hoping, and
when they announced Supergirl, I was like,
I knew it would never happen, but I really was hoping they would have the balls to just reboot the whole thing. That's it. Just reboot it. Reboot the whole thing.
Then everybody will say it's too soon.
It's not too soon.
With Matt Reeves Batman happening, it'll be like, okay,
two biggest pieces.
Start there.
I mean, that would be cool, but I really don't think he's trying to be in this.
Yeah. I just, again, I'm down with whatever, as long as you explain. Just don't tell me there's no Superman in this universe. Please don't do that.
I don't know how it will be.
I hope they don't kill Keaton
if that happens.
They're not going to kill Keaton. He's like 1,000 years old. They're going to let him age out.
Yeah. No way you bring him in just.
If he ain't dead yet, he ain't going to die. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no way you.
Nick Fury. He's like Nick Fury.
I'm saying he'll be in the Flash. He'll be a Batgirl. He'll die a Batgirl. And then
why you want to kill so many people?
I'm going off of them not allowing two of the same character to be alive.
Time out, Trevon. Let me just say this:
two Batman.
Time out. You found a way to end 2021 being wrong, and you want to start 2022 being wrong. You were wrong with Clint. Now you want to go 2 for 2 with Michael Keaton's Batman.
Clint gave me a lot of vibes that he was going to die. Okay, so
I just picked.
He didn't die, but it was close.
How was it close?
Never close.
It was never close. He was never going.
She almost shot him in that window.
I don't know what universe you think you live in, but like, you don't bring Michael Keaton's Batman back to kill him all.
No way. And also, Trevon, I have to keep reminding you, often in superhero movies, superheroes usually don't die. It defeats the purpose. You're supposed to be building, and you kill them. Like, Iron Man only left because he had given you like 13 years of the character.
It was a run. And
right,
he wanted
it was a run.
And at that point, at this point, it was like sacrifice, it meant something.
Right.
He was the only one. I mean, and Natasha. So you got two people that sacrificed.
Right. But that's usually all you ever get really with superhero.
They were very meaningful deaths.
Right.
Meaningful, correct. Yeah.
But to bring Keaton back after all this time, where probably most of today's generation faintly remembers who he is, and then kill him, that does you no justice whatsoever.
Now, they were going to kill Ben's Batman off during that whole arc.
During your Zack Snyder arc, you left so much.
Yeah, they were going to kill him off. You would have been so proud of them.
Oh, man, that would have been oof. Just the premise of Bruce Wayne can have any woman ever, and he gets his friend's wife.
Yeah,
it's just the most off-putting thing ever. Like, Why do y'all hate Batman so much? He's such a
Wow.
monster to these writers. Like, why? Yeah, Superman died, so I slept with his girl. Why? Why are you doing that?
Not even a year.
Not even a year passed. And he's just like, hey, you wanna? Sure. It's like, what? That's not Batman. Batman would never do that.
No
but
Bat
yeah,
Robin
so-
for me.
Yeah, so I'm really, like I said, curious to see where they go. I'm
When does
also
this come
curious.
out?
November.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm also curious to see, Trevon, if your prediction of Flash going bye-bye is true. I mean, look.
I think he's not off. I think it's come long enough. I think it's gonna.
Here's the funny part, Joel. I agree with Trevon, but it's not because another Flash exists. I agree with Trevon because you shot your load with almost all of Flash's interesting
That's true
road
too.
power. So it's like, well, unless you're giving me Red Death, because you already messed up Godspeed, that was just like a waste. So unless you're giving me Red Death, it's like, well, I don't want to see Reverse Flash again.
I think they will. I mean, look, they got at least one more season and one or two, maybe. I can't see it going further than that. I don't see why they would.
I really hope they don't do that because I hope my theory isn't correct because that means they're gonna keep doing that. I'm like, y'all gotta stop. Like, let them have somebody in the movies and let them have.
I think it's just a coincidence.
TV too.
You know,
I hope so.
Flash was supposed to come out years ago. You know, it just kept getting pushed back. You know, so hopefully it is just a coincidence. You know, it just so happens that we're ending the Flash show and now the movie's coming in.
Right, just a coincidence. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Accidental.
So maybe it lasts one more season. The movie's still
maybe.
Yeah. It only has one more season in him. I'm like, Barry has his full suit now, so it's like, well,
right.
Full
It
suit,
took us all forever to get that full
ring.
costume.
Yeah, I'm like, you got the ring, the museum, the full costume. I'm like, there's really nothing else.
And the movie's like, we're doing it in one movie. You guys did it in 8 seasons. The fuck took so long?
I mean, we felt the same way about Arrow. So we were kind of just like, well, I don't know what else you could do. I kind of feel like you've done everything. And they were like, you're right. We're going. It's like, all right, cool.
You know, look, but Stephen Amell wanted his character to die. I'm like, I don't understand why that's such a thing for people, but
I don't either. I don't know why. You know what it is, Joel? They keep letting Trevon in that writer's room. That's what's happening.
Like they gotta die, right?
It's like, why don't you guys just want to retire? Why is retirement not enough?
He's like, there can only be one. There's never two.
like just retire. Just retire. That's it. Good.
I don't know. I think I was like, what pissed me off the most about that is how they kept allowing him to have Deathstroke and then taking him. Like, it just kept pissing me off with that show. I was let him have him.
That was
stop playing.
That was the fault of, like you said, they wanted Slade for the Batman, Ben's Batman movie. And
I know. That's what
they're like, all right, Guggenheim, you can get Slade back. And then they were like, well, what if we did a Slade movie? Guggenheim, don't write him in yet. Hold on. And it's like, no, we're not going to do a movie. Go ahead and use him. But wait, what if you want to do a Teen Titan? And it's like, bro, am I using him or not? And it's like, you can use him.
That's what happened with Suicide Squad. I mean,
one more. Yeah, one more.
I still remember that little scene where you hear Harley. I'm like, God, really? Got snatched that from them.
That frustrated me more than anything because I'm like, Guggenheim, you were just doubling down on making this as close to a Batman story as you can. like Arrow and Harley interacting is more of a new 52 kind of thing.
You remember when they mentioned Batman? Remember when we mentioned Bruce Wayne?
Yeah, and then he said, "No, I'm the first," and it's like, all right, come on. enough. Goodness gracious.
Oh, Ferris Air. That's another.
Nothing upset me more than that.
They kept saying. I was like,
you even saw the flight jacket, and you're like, oh, how? And they're just like,
they played, man. They played our face.
And then you're like, all right, we gave Diggle the ring, so I'm like, we're finally gonna see a lantern. No, and it's like, bro, I don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but y'all should probably figure that out and fix all of this because that's ridiculous.
Since we're talking DC, isn't it like
do
you guys know much about Naomi?
Joel does. Joel does. He'll be right back. So hold that in that flow when he gets back. What was I gonna say? So yeah, so I this news, like I said, this Flash movie, they're putting a lot of pressure on it. It's not allowing it to just be a good Flash movie. It's now saying, well, you're setting up a whole new world for people to go into.
It's like they're making a Flash movie, and then all of a sudden Bruce is coming okay, yeah, we're gonna use this movie to wipe this. So do it.
And I said it to Joel before. It reminds me of Civil War, where Civil War was supposed to be the end of Cap's story, but instead you just made it another Avengers movie. So Cap's story kind of really got buried in there because you were just furthering the Avengers, really, to set up for Infinity War. So you look at Flashpoint, and you're like, well, it's not called Flashpoint; it's called The Flash. But you look at it, and you're like, this kind of feels like that. We're setting up something else, and his actual story is way down deep underneath there. But I did want to say, it looks like Flash, the movie, is taking what Flash, the TV show, just did in their crossover. Because it looks like the two Barrys, one of the Barrys is Reverse Flash, posing as Barry. So I hope that's the case. I hope when we see Reverse Flash, it's an actor we know, and it's like, oh my God, what? Because to me, Flash is only as good as Reverse Flash, and that's why the show worked so well, because you had an amazing Reverse Flash.
Yeah,
of course, you know, what's his name is Barry was phenomenal. So they need to play very well off of each other. And I know I said I wanted Michael C. Hall from Dexter. I wanted what's his name from You. I thought he'd be an awesome Earbard. There's a few people. Michael Fassbender would be an interesting Earbard. So there's ways they can go. I don't want Flash's story to get buried. I want us to get the start of Barry's adventures in this, where we are, all right, we got the Reverse Flash. We got the fact that Barry knows he can't keep running that fast and altering time. You know, I want him to learn these lessons early, because the Flash, the TV show, it would be like every season he'd reverse time and then go, oh, okay, I won't do that again. And then does it again the next season. And it's like, I don't think you're learning any lessons.
Or kept losing his powers.
It's gracious.
Oh my God.
Jesus, you're
making the frustration. The frustration.
Man. They love that. They love that.
They did. Oh my God.
Barry, do me a favor. Don't have powers. And it's like, well, I don't understand. You know, I run fast, right? So if you take that, what am I supposed to be doing here? It's like, I don't know. We'll figure something else out. But yeah, so I mean, look, I'm now interested in what Wonder Woman 3 looks like. I'm more interested in what Aquaman 2 looks like, what Shazam Fury of the Gods looks like. Because this is gonna be real interesting, man. This Batgirl movie now has higher stakes. Because if you
that's getting theatrical, that's getting theatrical now, right?
No.
From what I remember.
No,
I thought I got.
No,
okay.
I think that changes. You bringing in Michael Keaton and J.K. Simmons, it's like I don't think that stays on there that much longer. I think maybe they see what Blue Beetle does, and then maybe decide to. No, Batgirl comes out before Blue Beetle, so maybe it might stay as an HBO Max release. It'll have a theatrical release, I'm sure. I doubt it won't. It just won't be exclusively in theaters.
Right.
Yeah. But now that movie has high stakes, because now I'm like, well, if she's filling in for the Batman, right, and he's more guy in a chair part-time, I don't ever want a Batman universe where there's not Robin. And it's like, well, you don't give her a Robin, so it's like, well,
Robin needs to be there already. Yeah,
he needs to be
Nightwing, maybe almost Nightwing, maybe Nightwing.
No, you're 100% right. Yeah. But now it then becomes confusing because we know, well, just speaking off of what we know from the two movies we saw, man, we know Keaton's Batman didn't have a Robin. So it's like, well, do you let Chris McKay do his Nightwing movie and then just integrate it into the DCEU? What were you saying, Trevon?
I had to think about something. No, that was Clooney. I had to think.
Yeah.
I had to think.
What I said was true. We've never had a Batman and a Robin in the history of live action movies, right? Yeah.
I love that movie. Okay, so we're not gonna do that. You just don't like it. That's fine that you don't like it.
He adopted a grown man, Trevon.
Okay.
I'll never accept that. Okay. He adopted a grown man. Like that was the weirdest thing. Bruce was just like, hey. I was at the carnival. Okay. I was at the carnival when your parents died. You want to come live with me, maybe, and maybe utilize some of those skills. It's like, how do you talk a grown man into that? Like that was the weirdest thing.
He drove his motorcycle to the mansion. This is awful.
I think it's even weirder of Batman having a little kid following around. Like,
Yeah, but if you adopt a child, it's a child.
Yeah, you adopting a
The
child.
only thing that's weird is throwing him into danger. That is weird. But
well,
That's
yeah,
the
that's
weird
what, yeah, that's what I mean.
child,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the weird part. But we're
that's
not
what I
talking
mean.
about.
File him as Batman.
Yeah, we're not
outside,
talking about
yeah.
the danger
That's what I'm
part. We're
saying.
talking about the fact that Bruce Wayne just lured a grown man to come home with
He
him.
didn't lure him now.
He did.
with his millions,
Yeah,
come stay
Lord.
with me in my house.
Hey, he said, "Hey, your parents died, but
That's
I got
a whole
money."
different movie if he lured him. It's
He
a whole
lured
different
him.
movie
He said,
now.
"Hey," he said, "Hey."
Now.
Batman said, "Hey, I got spandex and money. You want to come? You want to come over?" And he's like, "Sure, I'll be there."
It didn't help
but-
that, like he was. I think it did look like he was. Chris O'Donnell definitely looked bigger than both of them motherfuckers.
Yes, he did. 100%.
Chris O'Donnell looked
100%.
amazing. That's what he looked
100%.
like.
But Joel, what we were talking about, and then Trevon had a big question for you. What we were talking about
great.
is I was telling Trevon, anytime I have a Batman, right, I need a Robin. And we know Batgirl is not going to get a Robin. So I'm curious to see how you, because Trevon was saying, we'll just utilize Nightwing. I'm like, no, that's perfect. But where is he? Like a Nightwing didn't exist before, and now you're just shoehorning him in. You know,
we have a Titans problem. Then Titans get canceled.
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I have no problem sacrificing. I have no problem sacrificing.
I would
can
honestly do that
Batman Robin.
sacrifice for a Nightwing movie. Yeah, I would.
100%.
Well, wasn't they supposed to be doing one? The one
Yes.
wasn't there one happening, and then it kind of like went into the ether. It just, I don't know.
Like Juwaan was saying, he was he kind of
doing one.
it's on the back burner for now.
All right, and what's scary about that is Trayvon. When I spoke to Chris McKay, when we spoke, he was saying that they were telling him that the Nightwing movie didn't need to connect to anything. So his Nightwing movie was going to be solo and not connect to anything. So I was like, that's really interesting.
Have
That's
it.
a bad idea.
Like we're
It's like having it's just like Venom without Spider-Man. It just doesn't.
Right.
No. Time out. No. This is worse because you can have the symbiote exist without Spider-Man. Robin literally only becomes Robin because of Batman. So what would motivate him to becoming Robin? Like that, like he just decides I'm gonna make my own suit.
Graduation from Robin to Nightwing. You can't not have a Batman. So it makes sense if they want to do it and integrate it with the Keaton Batman. It makes perfect sense.
Right.
That means Robin, he left him behind and became his own man in Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
Or some shit, you know,
Yep.
they can do it. It's very.
They can
possible.
do it.
And for me, I want it because of the interactions between Dick Grayson and Barbara, to where he's just like, be careful.
Yeah.
There's a reason I left. And she's not really understanding it. And then she's seeing more of the darker side of Bruce, to where he's more pushing away and less fathering. You know, so I would like her to have that safety net to where she has someone she can kind of talk to about these things. So where when Bruce gets too much, because you know Alfred, if Alfred is even still alive, if they give it to Alfred.
There's no way Alfred's still alive.
So wait, so you're telling me there's no way, Joel, Batman can be 50 and Alfred's 26? There's no way that can happen? No?
I don't know. That's a 20-year disparity.
So you're telling me
70 years old.
You're telling me he couldn't have raised Bruce and then went back in time and then no? Okay.
A 90-year-old fucking Alfred, well, like trying to serve his man.
Then you see Bruce go, I got it, Alfred. Don't worry. It's all I got, Bruce.
I'll take a nap.
All right, before we get out of here, Trevon had a question for you, Joel. I told him to cater it to you because you know more than I do. Go ahead, take it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask about Naomi. Like, what are her powers? Can you like give me like? Because I watched the latest trailer, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay. She said she could hear a lot. I was like, okay. And then you see the energy or whatever, and I was like, what is?
She's kind of
what
like,
is she?
Almost like a Captain Marvel or a photon character. Light power. She has light power.
Okay. And I think she loves Superman.
I'm
just really curious about just.
You just want to know
that as well.
Yes,
I kind of do. Yes,
what?
But
he just wants to know if Naomi flies. That's it. That's all
he does. She flies.
Okay. And I'm wondering like what they're gonna do. Like there's in the trailer, I guess they have a Superman flying across or whatever. I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna
connect
use. Yeah, I don't know. I just want.
They just make it themselves more complicated by not connecting.
They always do that though. Like they have it where the shows aren't I don't know.
Only show that doesn't
At the
connect
beginning.
is
Stargirl.
Stargirl, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
And it doesn't connect for
Supergirl didn't connect technically when it first
in the
started.
beginning, and then they connect. They merged.
Right. Same thing with Black Lightning.
Yeah. All the same event.
Right.
They all became
But
one.
Stargirl not connecting makes all the sense, because if you're Barry, you're going, well, Jay, you never tell me about when you go over next door and fight crime with these people. Like, what? I thought you were just my Jay Garrett.
I don't
fighting crime with other people. Like, what?
I don't even know what time period Stargirl is in. Like,
Present day.
like
modern day. It's modern day.
It's present day.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's an old.
They have cell phones.
You know how it is.
They have iPhones, Trevon.
Yeah, it's not fucking.
Did they?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you thinking it? Because here's how you know the timeline. It showed you the flashbacks to when they were active and alive. That was easily like the 80s, like the 70s, 80s. Yeah, okay. So then you flash now, and it's like, well, it has to be like present day. It's not from the 80s to the 90s. They look old as hell. So quite some time has passed. So it is modern day. So you could blend them. I just get why they don't. You'd have to answer a lot of things that they maybe just don't want.
Earth. It's technically Earth 2.
Another Earth, yeah.
Earth Prime.
Yeah.
And then every other Earth we don't know yet.
Cisco
keeps saying there's still more Earths out there, and we keep saying,
well, it ended with this telling us there's other Earths.
I mean, they claimed everything got merged, and then they said, "Oh yeah, but there's still a couple out there." I'm like, you can't just can't pick and choose where Earth stayed.
It absorbed Supergirl and Black Lightning is what happened.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that's all it did.
I don't know. It's cool. I mean, it's cool. We got a lot of content.
Naomi is a character who is on Earth Prime, but wasn't born there.
Ah, okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
You get it now?
Cool.
Yeah. Right. So Trevon, he's all in. Once you said fly, he was just like,
she's adopted. There's Thanagarians, there's Ranians, there's a lot of shit.
I'm not gonna lie, I had a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? I was scared for the show a little bit when I heard Ava was doing it, because I didn't know about her doing a superhero show. That I know Ava's great, but it's just like we didn't get that. So I didn't see that. So I haven't got that. I don't know how that was gonna be.
Do you like Ava's movies?
Yeah, they're intense. They're intense. Let me just put it that way. They're very powerful. Let's put it that way. Not somebody I would think would do a superhero show movie. That's why I was really interested to see how New Guys would be. Yeah. And then, but
I think it's gonna be fine. I think Naomi should be good. I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully they do connect. Definitely. They have a Superman. It just makes all the sense in the world to connect the damn universe.
100%. Yeah, it's right there in your lap. As if this day, Joel, wasn't already worse enough with us having to think about what the DCEU universe will be.
Every couple of months we have this little mind world.
Here's some more bad news for I know me and you are friends. You're not friends, fans. You're a fan more than I am, Joel, but Joe's leaving Impractical Jokers.
That is sad.
That is very sad. Very sad. Anyone who has not watched Impractical Jokers, go watch it. It is literally side-splitting fun. It is great.
I lived off that show for when I first moved. Like first couple months, I was all watching.
Where do you watch that?
It's actually on HBO Max, I believe.
Is it now?
I think it is on HBO Max.
True TV is the
is the home of it. It's True TV, but I think it's on HBO Max. Check it out. They're hilarious. But yeah, so I wanted to throw that in. I didn't know if you knew that yet or not, Joe. I just saw it. I was just like, oh, come on, man. But anyway, that's all we got to say about this DCEU rumors. Look, guys, you can, if you want, take this all with a grain of salt. I know for a lot of people, some of this news doesn't affect you as much as others. But like I said, at the end of the day, no one has grown up without seeing these characters interact from top to bottom. Full teams. Superman, Batman, Supergirl, back. Like, you saw everyone interact. So I just want you to hold on to the fact that you grew up with that. So that means we should still be able to have that in all facets. I don't want to hear, well, you're getting that here. I want it everywhere. I don't ever need the separation of the two. I want it everywhere. Comics, figures, movies, animation, TV shows. I even want it when I'm just listening to audio. I want the person saying Batman was talking to Superman. So that's all I'm saying to everyone who's like, well, it's not that big of a deal. Who cares? We care. Okay, we do.
Fans care. Okay, of course we care.
We care. We care.
It hurts a lot, like you see what Marvel's doing. You want it similar for a franchise, the DC universe that deserves better. You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
People don't know. People just don't know these characters like they should, and they're fucking great. They're great fucking characters. They really are.
Right. So yeah, anyone who ever watched Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series, Justice League or Justice League Unlimited, you've only ever seen these characters interact with their counterparts.
DC animated movies, even the new DC animated movies.
And I want to give a shout out to Trevon. You just you watched what was the Justice League
Apocalypse?
movie?
I watched Apocalypse War. Yeah. So I love it. Yeah, it's great. It's very dark, but
that was their end game. That was their end game. You know?
But huge shouts out, Trevon, to our close friend of ours, Ernie Altbacker, who wrote that. He wrote most of those animated.
Ernie's cool people.
I'm doing that Man of Tomorrow. I'm gonna do the other two, Long Halloween and today's a DC day. I did the Harry Potter this morning, like crack of dawn.
Yeah, I'm about to do that.
And now
I'm doing my Harry Potter quest.
JSA next after Superman.
Wait, what'd you say, Joel?
The JSA is next after Superman.
Yes, the JSA, yeah.
And then
but Ernie would love to hear that, Trevon, because he got an overwhelming amount of dislikes on that movie.
Really?
So yeah.
I don't get it. I really love that movie.
I mean, it's great. Like that's what would happen.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
No arguments here. None. But he will love to hear that. So make sure I get that message out to him.
Yeah.
Got another person I loved it, Ernie.
Yeah.
So that I'm glad you watched and enjoyed it. So make sure you go on your DC animated little marathon to where you're caught up. Because when you get to now, like where we are now, because we're waiting for more movies to kind of trickle down, but where you are now, you see what's being built, and you're like, oh yeah.
I'm excited. Yeah, stay to the end credits after Long Halloween Part 2.
Okay.
And Part 1 and 2, but Man of Tomorrow, does it have end credits?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Okay. Well,
I think they all have end credit scenes, I think. So just stay to the
I'm
end.
enjoying this. The animation is different though. I want all of them like that.
Yes.
Like all of them like that going
so
forward.
far. You know what's funny?
Halloween too?
Yeah. Well, that's the funny part, because the Long Halloween stills came out and we're like, I wonder if it's connected. Because at the time we didn't know. And we're like, I wonder if it's connected to the Superman and JSA. Because it looks similar. The animation looks similar.
Yeah.
And it was. And we find out that it is eventually.
I wonder if they did it on purpose so you know.
That's what I thought. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Because when I found out that JSA was connected to Superman, I was like, "Holy shit!" I had no idea. That was so surprising.
Yeah, I'm definitely watching all those today.
Yeah, they cater it so it makes all the sense in the world that they're all one big thing.
Yeah.
So everyone out there, in light of all this crazy DCEU news, go have a DC day. Go watch some DC movies, whatever the movies are that you enjoy. Go watch them. Have a DC day. Wash all this down the sink. All this rumors, news. Let's worry about it when we get to the Flash.
Don't show them the live action. Show them the animated movies.
And
They'll
appreciate it. They will appreciate continuity and everything.
They're pretty good.
They will. Also, one thing I do want you guys to check out, for anyone that is excited about Batgirl, check out the animated series The Batman. They give her an amazing arc. They give Robin an amazing arc. Then you even get a big old Justice League arc to end out the whole series.
Okay.
So it's a great series that you start off with Batman, then he gets his awards, then he gets introduced to a larger world. And it's just great. And it shows you what Batgirl the movie can be, integrating Batman where he's in the background, she's the forefront, and then you just integrate it to where they're now working together. And then you integrate Robin, because Robin came first. But then she was the forefront. you didn't really see him that much. And then after a while, they just integrated the three back together. And you're like, okay, now it's Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So if you haven't seen that series, please go watch it. Great series.
I think that's the one I haven't seen. Yeah.
So Beware of the Batman.
I think so. That's the one with like the blue with the. Is he a blue?
No, you're thinking Batman Brave and Bold.
Brave and the Bold.
Oh, okay.
That's more goofy. It's fun though.
Okay.
Good show.
Okay.
It's goofy.
Okay.
But Beware the Batman.
Cameos.
Beware the Batman upset me and Joel the most because they were building on one of Batman's more fun teams, and then the show just ended. Because it had Metamorpho, it had Katana, and it looked like we were maybe building to Black Lightning at some point, and then it just said
never went there.
it just ended. It wasn't like they were trying to do it and didn't. They just ended. So
yeah, that has a lot of very obscure villains too. You get Tobias Whale in it.
Oh, okay.
It does, and Trevon, you'll like it because they do the most weirdest thing. So instead of giving this Batman a Robin, a Batgirl, a Batwoman, they give him Katana. Katana is like his Robin. Yeah. Obviously, she's not young; she's around the same age as him, but they're partners.
Well, yeah. What happens is she becomes his like bodyguard,
right?
Like Bruce Wayne's bodyguard is
right. Okay.
Which is funny because the art style of Bruce Wayne, he's large, like up here. So you look at him and you're like.
Oh, yeah, she's this little tiny girl, and it's like, yeah, wow. That's why it's so funny in the beginning. He's like, this little girl, really?
And she even pulls a Robin to where, I mean, Katana does have this in the comics, but it's just this. Everything else looks like
it's almost like Kato.
That's it. But all right, so this has been an all new episode of Much Ado About Something. Like we said, me and Joel will come together and do these. Anytime rumors or news comes out where we don't want to do a full hour, 2 hour, 3 hour show about it, just, come, unload a little bit on whatever the news or rumors are. So this is our first one of 2022. Happy New Year to everyone out there.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year.
And hopefully we've made this news or rumors rather, more palatable. Maybe you can kind of consume it a lot easier than just the raw news that's being thrown out there. Like, just take this and then take that and then take that.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot, especially.
It's gonna be some think pieces about this.
For sure.
Oh, there will be. There will be. Yeah. And you know what? You know who's real lucky right now? Henry Cavill. That he did all his Witcher press.
Yeah, you're right.
Witcher press right. Now. They would go, hey, so Black Superman, Supergirl. Are
happening with you?
Universe? Yeah, And he would have to come out and be the typical Henry Cavill. I don't know. The door's still open. I would love to come back.
I got my suit right here, ready. I'm ready.
I wait for Henry Cavill one day to just pull up his shirt and it's Superman costume.
He's like, it's right here, man.
I stay ready.
I got it on.
Stay ready.
Yeah.
So bless you, Henry, that you don't have to worry about that. God bless you. But to everyone out there, thank you for tuning into this episode, and we will see you guys in this new week with the Book of Boba, Much Ado About Nothing, Figure It Out, and a whole bunch of other stuff we have coming you guys' way. So stay tuned, and Peacemaker comes out in a few weeks, I believe.
Yes. So
yeah.
Very soon.
13th, I believe.
Oh, the 13th. Okay, so cool. That comes out, and then right after comes out Scream.
Did you see the new trailer?
I did not.
Came out midnight last night.
Oh, geez.
Red Band trailer.
All right, well, hold on. We got to do a Red Band trailer. All right, so thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. So then, peace.
Peace.